Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. I hope all of you are doing well as we get things kicked off here. And of course, we have a great show planned for you today as we have the one, the only, one of our favorite correspondents, Miss Sandy Berger. That's right, joining us. She is our consumer electronics expert and correspondent. And yeah, we're going to be talking exactly about that. One of the newest and most highly sought after types of consumer electronics and, of course, smart speakers. So there's a couple new options on the market. It's getting crowded. So I really enjoy the fact that we can have Sandy here to talk all about the space because, as it develops, and, she's been one of the first ones on the show here to talk about the idea of a smart speaker. And as it starts to come into its own, well, hey, no one better. So before we do that, a couple things to mention, including computeramerica.com. That's where you'll find everything for today's show, including links to any products we talk about or any videos that we share on the show, or just anything you need to check out. We, of course, have it at our website. Also, be sure while you're there to check out the social media contest. That's what we call it. Social media contest, where every single Friday we give away a prize from our friends over at Logitech to a lucky listener. How to enter and all that good stuff available right there on the homepage. And the last thing is, of course, the live video stream where you can watch Computer America and not just listen. Not mandatory, but hey, just another way to experience what we do here. So with all that said, and again, just looking forward to jumping into this, we have a number of topics that range from new products to, just what these companies are kind of positioning these smart speakers to really be in your home. Because I think at this point, it's safe to say they fully expect you. They fully expect you to have a smart home, or I'm sorry, a smart speaker in your home at some point. And I'm sure this holiday season, there's going to be tons of commercials. So, again, to explain all this and explore all this with us is the one, the only Miss Sandy Berger. So, Sandy, thank you for coming on Computer America once again.
Happy to be here.
Right, yeah, and again, so smart speakers. Obviously, you've as I mentioned a number of times, you have been on top of this. And before we get started, all in all, I have to ask you, are you still excited about them? Because I know sometimes, they lose their luster. It's not new anymore.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened with the smartphones. The first iPhone was extremely exciting, and then they got even more exciting, and then everything kind of sloughed off. I mean, there's new things, but they're just not exciting anymore.
Yeah.
I am still excited about the voice assistants. They're spreading like magic. And it's just the idea that they keep learning new things and improving things is just phenomenal, especially when you're not necessarily paying for all the additions that you get in new features.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think they have you covered on the paying part because, the fact that they're coming out with different varieties and, as you have one here, we're going to talk about the Google Home later about how $400. I mean, again, Amazon was one of the first ones to come out with it. They came out at like $150 for the early adopters, $200 it topped out. I mean, they're starting to get pretty complicated or at least, pretty sophisticated.
Well, they are, but on the other hand, they're still just as easy to use and just as easy to get excited about. So my original Echo, and I got my Echo, I actually bought it. I didn't receive it for nothing from Amazon, but I bought it when they first let them out on the market, and they were only, it wasn't an open sale. You had to be approved and whatever. And that was, believe it or not, 3 years ago. My
Yeah,
Echo is 3 years old. I've been using it all this time, and it just keeps getting better and better. New features just keep coming and coming. So now my Echo, which is 3 years old, can make phone calls to anywhere in the United States, Canada. I think it's Mexico too. I'm not positive about that. Um, but in other words, you can make toll-free phone calls. It's amazing. It really is.
that is interesting because I mean, we have talked to over the years a number of voice over IP things like that. It's certainly gotten easier, and again, we're gonna get into specifics with these devices, but I know that Google has the Hangout service. They do amazing things with phone calls. We use them on the show all the time. And you say that Amazon can now do something similar. But do you think at some point this might be able to replace, or at least, maybe displace, traditional landline? The idea of having a phone in your. I
Well,
know that's already rare, but yeah.
traditional landlines, a lot of people have gotten rid of those a long time ago. And there are some holdouts. There are still some people who have that. I understand that Amazon is coming out with a new device that will run off the original phone lines. Now, I don't know exactly what that's going to be yet,
Hmm.
um, but what it is going to hurt is the early adapters in the telephone VoIP area. So
Mm-hmm.
Uma is has been fabulous for the last 5, 6 years. You can make phone calls and all that. You buy the equipment, and then it's only a couple dollars a month for the service. But they're going to be, I think, badly hurt by the Echoes and the Google Homes. That you can actually use them to make phone calls. Then why do I need Uma unless I'm using their advanced features?
Right. Yeah. It's funny because you're talking about smartphones earlier, and the idea that a smartphone is a phone. I mean, I've heard stand-up comedians and other people kind of joke that the phone is just a seldom used app on my phone. Like the idea
Yeah,
that's
that's true.
yeah, the idea that these devices they can also make phone calls, but that's not their primary use anymore. So you think that smart speakers, they'll also be able to make phone call even though it's not their primary function.
Exactly,
Gotcha.
exactly. And they keep adding functions and adding functions. And one time it's more exciting than the next, to be honest with you. Um, we're talking Google Home or Amazon Echo. They're competing with each other very highly. So Google was the first one to be able to make phone calls. Now Amazon can do it. Google was the first one that could differentiate between the voice of yourself, your spouse. The Google Home and Echo can now do the same thing. So basically, I ask either my home or my Echo, give me my appointments for the day, and it will give me my appointments. Um, I ask for my news for the day, it'll be my customized news. But if my husband comes in and asks for his appointments or his news, Amazon Home can do it now. The Echo can do it too. So they keep adding new features, which is wonderful.
Right, and let's see. Oh, actually, that may explain it right there. So yeah, I was just looking at the Amazon site, folks. If you're watching the video portion, we kind of have it right there as well. But yeah, I was actually kind of wondering why did they have it listed at 165, marked down to 150. And I was like, that just seems like a blatant, raising the price just so you can put it on sale. No, it turns out that Amazon is currently doing a bundle with Philips Hue. So lighting and the idea
Right.
of other smart devices and controlling them through your Amazon device, they obviously want the fact that they're selling it with a Hue bulb means that they kind of
hmm
want to get you interested in home automation in general. So I guess as a question for you, has the Echo got you more interested in home automation because it kind of gives you a way to control it?
Well, it's a thing that got me into the home automation. The minute I bought the Echo, I went out and bought a Philips Hue hub and Philips Hue bulbs for my house, and that just one thing leads to another, and you're doing one thing, you're doing the other. It's wonderful. But let me explain to everyone that's out there. There are two new Echoes.
Hmm.
The one I had 3 years ago is still good. It's great, but the new Echo is shorter. It's covered with fabric rather than a hard plastic. And it comes with removable covers, which again, they're competing with Google Home. Google Home had removable covers. Now the Echo has it, and at a
And
lower price,
right,
$99.
and just real quick, if you Google search just Amazon Echo, funny enough, well, Google searching an Amazon product, but yeah, funny enough, the first thing that pops up is indeed the first generation, like you were talking about. Those are no longer available. Like, I doubt they'll ever make more of an old product. So the only thing available is, again, the Echo you were just talking about, just to make that clear.
Right. You can find them on sale in various places. I saw some on one of the home networks on TV
Hmm.
for $79. So there are a few that are still out there, but the new Echo, $99. However, there's a new Echo Plus, and this is more like what you were talking about, Ben, because the Echo Plus actually has a hub built into it. So for $99, you get the Echo. If you want to do, say, Philips light bulbs, then you have to add on the hub and the light bulbs. If you buy the new Echo Plus, which is $149, it will have the hub built in, which is really neat because um, you can start the new Echo, the Echo Plus, and you can have one light bulb in your house, or you can have 30 light bulbs in your house. And you just say, Alexa, find the new devices, and she finds them all for you. There's no playing around with your router, your wireless, anything. It's all done for you. So that is really neat.
That is super impressive. And of course, the thing that kind of makes this all tick is the fact that Amazon was maybe one of the first to open up their API and let others kind of make skills for it instead of, trying to work with people, reach a hand out and, work closely in tandem, kind of like. I think what Apple was trying to do with their HomeKit, things like that. But the fact that
Hmm.
anyone can make skills, and I was just reading a review in preparation for the show. I was reading another review of the Echo Plus, and we're gonna get your reactions on how it's an upgrade or not. But yeah, the skills, what used to be 100 skills, 50 skills, has quickly ballooned to 15,000. I think last time I checked, and of course, at 15,000, not all of them useful, not all of them stellar, but 15,000, it's a variety.
It's amazing. It really is. I mean, it's almost overwhelming, as are many of our choices with new technology. But yet, you go to somebody's house and they're playing Jeopardy on their Amazon Echo, and it's it's really cool to see that. And that's one way, obviously, to find new skills that you can use. You can have Alexa tell you what to have for dinner from Campbell's Soup or whoever. There's just, as you say, it seems like a million. I know it's not yet, but there's skills out there that all the Amazon devices can do. So whether you're talking the $49 Echo Dot, the $99 new Echo, or the Echo Plus, or some of the other new things that they have, they all can do all the skills, which is amazing.
Right. So let's talk about some of the improvements from the first generation to the last one, because I think some of the original complaints, and I kind of get it. I mean, this thing bills itself as a smart speaker. It's not just about the intelligence inside of it. It's a speaker that's meant to play music and sound good in your home because you can play music. You can use it as another device to kind of talk to, listen to it. As you mentioned, phone calls earlier. Sound quality should be important. Did
It should be
Amazon?
important.
Yeah.
And Amazon is touting the new Echo as having much, much, much better sound quality than the original Echo. And I have to totally disagree with that.
Okay.
The sound quality of the new Echo, and I've listened to them side by side over and over again. The new Echo is very nice. It's got maybe a little bit deeper sound, maybe a little bit better bass, but it's not all that much better than the original Echo. So for those of you that might have the original Echo and you say, I'm going to buy this new one just because it's going to sound that much better, I don't think that's a reason to buy the new one. Now,
Hmm.
there are some other reasons you might want to buy the new one.
Right.
The original Echo did not have a 3.5 millimeter port or uh, do Bluetooth. The new one has both of those. So you can plug an auxiliary speaker into the new Echo, and it will play whatever you want. I have actually a Bose radio, an old Bose radio hooked into my Echo, and it plays really, really well. You can also use Bluetooth speakers with it. So music wise, I think that's the important thing rather than the additional sound quality that they talk about.
That's interesting because Amazon, they've been very open by the fact that they have, the Amazon Echo is not your only choice when it comes to smart speakers. Even Google aside, other companies were given the right to license the Alexa platform. Again, sorry if anyone's listening to this through one of those devices, but through the Alexa platform, and we have companies. Oh, none are immediately springing to mind. I know that there's a few out there, but essentially there are other companies that make speakers that wanted to make a competing product. Do you think that
Right.
Amazon just has no interest in making, a decent? Because I say making a decent
Well,
speaker, quote unquote, because that would cost a bit more money. I think Amazon wants to keep it low. Do you think it's worth looking at
Amazon,
some of their
yeah,
competitors?
Ben, you're right. Amazon wants to keep the price low. So at $99, they're undercutting the Google Home device and certainly going to be undercutting the new Apple device when it comes out. But you have to remember that Google is obviously making money licensing Alexa to these various other companies. For instance, Ultimate Ears is EU, uh, not EU, UE. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
UE is one of the speaker sets that I like very much, and they just came out with their speaker with Alexa built in. But they're paying money to Amazon for that. So Amazon is making money from all angles on this. And the more devices that they get out there, of course, the more money they're going to make.
I think that this wouldn't have worked if obviously no one was interested in them. I mean, Amazon could have developed all this, they could have built out the platform, but if and then by not capitalizing on it, kind of like how Apple does with the iPhone, they don't ship off iPhones and iOS to other devices. If no
Right.
one was interested, then I guess they wouldn't make their money. But the interest seems to be there, and I think this shopping season, holiday season, what have you, especially Black Friday, do you think people should, maybe take a look at one of these and say, hey, this is a good time to jump in, or does it really not matter when you jump in?
Well, it doesn't really matter when you jump in, but if you get a good price on one of these devices, I would just say go ahead and go for it, be it Amazon's or Google's, either one, because they're both comparable. They do some different things, but basically, they'll change your life. I mean, when you can, it's just getting a little chillier here in North Carolina,
Hmm.
and I climb into bed at night and say, Alexa, turn off all the lights, and she does it for me. That's
It's
okay.
convenient. Yeah.
Maybe makes me sound a little lazy, but it's really a great feature. It's just a little tiny comfort that adds something to your life.
Yeah, no, that's the future of the home we've been told is just you speak to your home and it kind of does it for you. Now, a little bit of a tangent here, but since you were last on, Amazon announced a very, I think people saw it as a creepy move, but when you understand the reasoning behind it, it made sense, and it was the fact that they wanted to be able to. They call it like Amazon Prime. I don't want to say like home or something like that. But anyways, you essentially connect a connected lock to Wi-Fi. I'm assuming that eventually, well, it's through support devices, so like Quickset. I know they already work with Alexa. But anyways, I guess they were tired of people stealing packages off of doorsteps, and they want to put packages directly inside your home, even when you're not home. So they should be able to unlock your door. At least that's what they say they want to do,
Hmm.
and drop it off. So my question to you is, obviously being able to connect your locks, that's already a feature of Alexa. Do you think Amazon, has a good plan going on here with the idea of being able to control, they letting them control your home at least to a small extent?
Right. Well, to a big extent, if you're letting them open the front door, that's letting them, giving them an open
Yeah, that's
access to
true.
your home. I do not have my locks attached to the Echo or to Google Home. So I'm still a bit old fashioned in that. I don't believe these devices are listening to us or any of that. But I still don't trust it with my door locks. So will I trust it now to let Amazon drivers come into my home and deliver the package? I probably won't. It'll be interesting to see what other people do as well. Because when Uber first came out, I said, oh, I don't know if I can trust that Uber driver. So I felt very, very leery of that. And look at the popularity there. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see if this Amazon thing is going to go or not. One thing, Ben, if you haven't seen it on their website, they have a video of this new service and it's just priceless. It's really a great video if you have time to watch that.
The new service being the Amazon home delivery door lock thing?
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah,
right.
I have seen that. And by the way, just your point about Uber, that was the greatest irony I think of, of this decade was that we taught kids growing up, hey, don't get into cars with strangers. That's a bad thing. And then now we
Right.
pay money to climb into cars with strangers. That's just the way that people kind of do it nowadays. You're right. It is odd, but
That's
the
right.
and
We
God.
taught our kids to lock the doors and keep them locked and don't let strangers in. So, here we go again. Things are changing and they're changing quickly. It'll be very interesting to see how this goes.
Well, yeah, and there's a reason for Amazon, and we're gonna talk a bit more about Amazon and some of their other offerings real quick. But again, to the point that you can connect your smart locks to it and let people in your home. There's a point about that, and it's a sell. I think it's less used than other parts of Amazon. They're definitely trying to expand it. And if you go to Amazon, on the drop down, it's way at the bottom and it's home services. It's the idea that you could essentially tell your smart speaker that, hey, hi, could you have someone come clean my house for me, or could you have someone come over and walk my dog? These kinds of services, and then people would be able to come over regardless of the time of day, even if you're at work or what have you, and Amazon would let them in. The services would be done for you, and you'd be able to, it would all be handled essentially paperlessly, wirelessly, and I'm sure Amazon hopes conveniently. Do you think
Right.
the smart speaker has a role to play in, dog walking, cleaning, handyman, things like that?
Well, Amazon certainly hopes so. I think that this Google Home Services thing has the possibility that it will be a winner, but it also has possibility of being a flop. So it's going to be one of the interesting ones to watch. I think though that the Amazon Echo, they've done a great job with it, and the new Echoes that have come out, just take it slightly one step up. There's nothing really spectacularly different.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
the one thing on the new Echo
Hmm.
really does have improved noise cancellation. So I can, if I've got music playing and in the next room, the old Echo might not hear me talk to it or call its name, but the new Echo will because it does have improved noise cancellation. So, I mean, that's another one of the biggest differences.
I gotcha. No, and that's obviously very very important. And you're right. Kind of going back real quick to the services, they certainly hope so. And here's the last kind of skill or thing that Amazon hopes that you're going to do with your devices, because again, knowing what Amazon thinks you're going to do with your device kind of dictates how they advertise it to you and what they really kind of flesh out. A couple of months ago, they recently, they purchased Whole Foods. That was a big acquisition. And they've also talked about the possibility of ordering groceries through your smart speaker. And we're going to talk about Google here in a couple of minutes. But Google has a very high profile partnership with Walmart. And the idea that you order your groceries through your smart speaker and then they're either delivered to your home as Amazon hopes, or you go to Walmart and you pick them up already prepared. Um, has that struck your fancy? Have you tried that service where you essentially just read your grocery list and someone else does your shopping for you.
I have not yet tried it, and I have to do that, I think, pretty soon now that they have it. I think they have it available at Walmart. I'm not sure if they have it at my Walmart yet. I'm kind of out in the country, meaning I'm 90 miles from the biggest city, so I'm
Mm.
not going to find these services as quickly as they do in New York or Chicago or any of those cities. So sometimes I have to wait for it. But I think that yes, I think that's a possibility for a new service that's going to be a hit.
Yeah, no, and I think convenience is the name of the game, and just being able to talk to these devices and they understand you just like a person would. Obviously, something that Alexa is really starting to excel at. So, real quick, we have about 5 minutes before we hit the break, and I think after the break we're going to switch gears over to Google. But if people are looking to get into the Alexa or smart speaker kind of space, uh, could they do with just a dot, which is obviously the very, very bottom, $50, or do you recommend another device? And what are some of the more quirky devices that maybe would be a better fit for them?
You can get in with an Echo Dot at 49.99. It's the cheapest way to get in, and it does everything that the Big Echo does. So there's no problem, except that it does not have the speakers to play music really, really well, or good sounding music. So you can get in there and you can hook up a speaker you might have or an old radio or something like that to the Echo Dot. And that gives you the ability to try things out. But if you're going to go the next step and you're going to you want to do light bulbs. You want to be able to turn the lights on and off. You enjoy playing with the colored light bulbs like I do.
Mm-hmm.
Then the easiest way to get in is the Echo Plus. It's $149, but you don't need to buy a hub. As a matter of fact, Amazon is advertising that right now. I think it's a little bit more, but you can buy the Echo Plus with a set of light bulbs or something like that,
Well,
and
yeah,
you'll see more and more of that.
yeah,
That's the
but
absolute easiest way to get into it all.
right, and by the way, just we mentioned that a little bit ago. I'm sorry, we mentioned that a little bit ago, and that was essentially it's 149.99, kind of baseline, and then they have a special deal going on where you get a single, uh, yeah, a single Philips Hue bulb included, for the same price. So yeah, they obviously want you to control your lights.
Right. And it's very easy to do. Now, if you buy an Echo for $99, then you want to control your lights. You have to buy there are bulbs that can be controlled directly from the Echo, but the easiest, best one is to buy a Philips bulbs.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would have to buy the Echo at $99 and a hub, a Philips hub and or a smart hub and some light bulbs to go with it. So you're going to be up to the $149 anyway. So if you know you want to do light bulbs, do the Echo Plus. If you're just interested in music, oh, and the one thing that Amazon has recently added is the ability to play music on all your Echo devices at the same time. You see, previously they couldn't sync the music up, but now they can. So you just set it up in your app, and then you say, Alexa, play this particular song everywhere. And
Hmm.
you set up a group called Everywhere. And if you have more than one Echo, even if you have Echo Dots or any of the Echoes, they will all play the music at the same time, which is very nice to have whole music.
Very, very cool. Yeah, and let's see, about 30 seconds left. The Echo Spot, real quick, and the Echo Show. I think those two are going to be, important if people want
The
a video.
the Echo Spot I have not seen myself yet. But what it is the small round. It looks like an alarm clock,
Mm-hmm.
except it's a picture. You can watch. I don't know that you'd want to watch a video in anything that small, but it's $129. Um, the other one, which also has a screen, the Echo Show, is $229. It's a bit chunky looking to my feel. It doesn't have a really good high-tech feel to it,
Right.
but it does perform certain functions like being able to have a video call with your mother or your grandmother or to be able to see the baby in another room.
Right.
And for that reason, the Echo Show
Well,
is great.
and for that, everyone, music means we're gonna take a break. We'll be right back. Sandy Berger, right after this.
We are all
Okay.
Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. If you're just joining us, I'm your host, Ben Crossman. We are joined by the one, the only Sandy Berger. You can find more of her musings, her writings over at CompuKiss and a number of different publications that she writes for. So, but we are just wrapping up about the Amazon and all their offerings, the last one being the Echo Show. And Sandy, again, to your point, that it doesn't look exactly stylish. I always thought that after I looked at it, I was like, that thing looks just perfect to be inserted into the center console of a car, like being inset or, but, kind of not out in the open. It just doesn't look, as stylish as any, it doesn't look as modern as any of the other devices. I'll definitely give you that.
Right. It really doesn't. I mean, their most modern device, or not a modern looking device, really is the new Amazon Echo, this new generation,
Right.
because it's covered with fabric, and those fabric sleeves are removable, so you can buy one later and have it look a little different. And it is pretty good looking.
Right. So with that being said, that's about the whole lineup. There's one other called the Echo Look that is, obviously I think meant for their clothes shopping arm. It's not going to be for everyone, and it's not really mandatory for a good kind of lineup of
No,
products.
but again, it does, the look does everything that all the other Echoes do, and it also takes pictures of you and suggests what clothes you should wear for the day. And for a fashionista, it's really great. Actually, I got one. I had real fun with it. So it can also be a fun thing if you're into clothes.
Right. And it's obviously buying clothes online not the easiest thing to do. So it could be helpful again for the right person. It seems like a much more niche product than the
It
other
is.
devices. So with that being said, that's the Amazon lineup. Obviously, like I said, there's probably going to be deals left and right during Black Friday and things like that. I mean, did we kind of miss anything else? I mean, obviously, 3 years continuously in development. You mentioned that your original Echo, got better and better over time. Do you feel, that's just going to be the way of smart speakers? Is, regardless of the hardware, the software just has, plenty of room to grow?
Yes, and they're growing constantly. Their voice recognition is improving. The far field communications is improving. Um, Everything pretty much about them gets better and better as far as the software goes. And you have the benefit of it because both Amazon and Google are updating their devices on a constant basis. So you buy one now, you don't have to buy a new one in 3 months or 6 months. You'll have all that functionality built right in. I certainly hope that this keeps up because the competition has been absolutely wonderful.
Now, before we jump into Google, which will be our next area of discussion, I have to mention that it's so weird. It's been weird ever since we started talking about these smart devices. It's so weird to me that the company that essentially made the first digital assistant, or at least the first one that was publicly, kind of popular, and the idea that Siri has become something of a parlor trick. It's maybe she has her uses, but at the same time, I personally have her deactivated. It's I don't feel like I get much use out of having that digital assistant activated out of my phone. Do you find it weird that Apple isn't competing in the space? Because this Amazon has really, made it, and they've made it their own. Google, I think, is starting to get a foothold. Smart speakers, it's a growing industry, and Apple just doesn't seem too interested in it.
Well, I agree with you that um, even Cortana, which is Microsoft's voice
That too.
assistant,
That too.
is now better than Siri. And Alexa is better, and the Google Assistant is better. So Apple has allowed all these companies to overcome them. We are still waiting for the introduction of the Apple Home voice assistant. And I'm sure that's going to come soon. And I do find it funny that Apple did not get into this faster, but they will get into it. If you recall, Microsoft kind of almost missed the whole internet thing. They just didn't think it was going to be that important. And, they had a lot of catching up to do, which Microsoft has done now. I think it will be the same thing with Apple. Their projected price of their home device, though, is $399. Hasn't come out yet. That could change, but that's an awful lot of money to pay when you can buy one for $49. So it's going to be real interesting. And that's, I think, due to happen before Christmas, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah, it's sometime
Yeah,
definitely here soon. If not, then the early months of next year, which I don't think they'd want to miss the holiday season. But at the
right.
same time, if you're watching the video portion, the home it's called the Apple HomePod. It's going to be their first device in the space, and reading through their feature list, they're so heavily focused on the idea that you are going to use this for music. It is your music device, and for Alexa and Home and Google Home, that's a part of it, for sure. But it's not even the most important part, and it's not the whole of it. Whereas Apple seems to think these smart speakers are just smart music jukeboxes.
Right. And I think that's where Google has the edge.
Hmm.
Now, Amazon, their devices sound good, and the new Echoes, you can put speakers on. So you can have a really good speaker and have great sound in various rooms in your house. But Amazon, I mean, Google has the lead here, in my opinion, because they have Chromecast devices. So any Google Home device can control a Chromecast device. Therefore, my Google Home will control my television very easily because it's a Chromecast device. It has a Chromecast on it. It will also control my speakers, my portable speakers, and my AV receiver because I happen to have one that is Chromecast enabled. So as long as you buy speakers that are Chromecast enabled, or you buy a little Amazon Chromecast audio device for $35,
Hmm.
um, you can have really great sounding music throughout your home. Where with Amazon, you're like good sounding music, maybe something better than average. But with Google, you can even play high res music, which is fabulous.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be important for people, looking to jump into the space. But I feel like if you're already established, I mean, you mentioned that you already have, well, obviously because of your job, you have tons of toys to play with. But
I
having
do.
having Wi-Fi speakers, Bluetooth speakers already positioned around your house, don't you feel that it's kind of anyone's game if you already have other people's speakers?
Yes, you're right. It is anyone's game. And most companies are making their speakers now so that they can be played on Amazon Echo or Google Home and Apple as well. You'll find speakers right now that will be able to play on all three home devices. So it's really interesting because, of course, they're competing with each other. Right now, Google and Amazon are coming out with their new devices to compensate already for the Apple device, which hasn't even come out yet.
Right.
So, and they're in competition with each other, which is why the Google Home Mini just came out. That just came out about 2 weeks ago. And that is just like the Amazon Dot,
Well,
a very
and
small machine device.
yeah, and I don't recall exactly which device it was. It might have been the Mini. That the touch surface of it, they had a glitch with. I think it was the most recent Google. It was either the
It's
Home
the Mini.
or the Mini that they had to. It was so bad that they had to permanently disable the touch. The top touch surface of these devices. Like it was really really bad. Do you know what happened there, or
I do. What happened is they shipped out the original devices, the first section of devices, and they found out almost immediately that the device was listening constantly, which is what we don't want. We want these devices to listen when you call their name,
Mhm.
and you give them commands. You don't want them listening to the fight you're having with your husband or anything like that. And so this was a huge security flaw. They knew it. They turned it off. And the thing was, on the very first ones that came out, you could tap the middle of this little device. It looks like a overgrown mushroom, actually. It's about 3 inches around, soft fabric on the top.
Yeah.
When it first came out, you could touch the middle of it to wake it up, but they found out that it was awake all the time. So
Oh.
rather than have people, uh, you know, cut back and say, I don't want that device, they took that feature out completely. Now,
Mhm.
what it's done, however, is it hasn't goofed up the volume, but to control the volume on this little tiny um, donut type thing, you press either side of the device itself. Now, when you could tap the middle and wake it up. There's four little lights on it,
Right?
and then you could see which direction or where that volume up and volume down was. Since they took that feature out, you can't tap the middle of it to turn the lights on. So you have to kind of play around to find the volume controls on it. Is that a big deal? No. The reason it's not a big deal is because all you have to do is say, Google, turn the volume up or turn the volume down or turn the volume to 5 or whatever you want to say, and it'll control it with your voice. So it's not that big of a deal. But Google did have a big mistake there when they
Yeah.
first came out.
Yeah, it was it was weird because it was the one thing that people I think are worried about when they, kind of think about starting to have these things in their home is that is this a violation of our privacy? And Google said initially, yeah, the first one kind of was, and we're going to fix it and we're going to address it. Um, Obviously, it's that they've solved it in a very roundabout way. I'm sure the next generation they'll have it fixed and it'll be all okay. But the mini,
Well,
and
it
uh,
is all okay now. The way they did it, they handled it very, very well. They didn't make a big deal out of it. They just quietly took care of it. And so now the thing is like all these other devices, it listens when you call its name.
right. So, and obviously the mini, it's the lower end. I think it still has plenty of, functionality even without the touch top. So that's not too big of a deal. Now, what exactly? And I'm assuming again that you have one. What exactly are some of the kind of key parts of having a Google kind of mini. Is it the same thing you do with the Alexa? I saw that they were
Yes,
advertising phone calls. Again, I think Google does phone calling very, very well. What do you do with the mini?
you do with the Mini everything that you do with the big Google Home, or pretty much basically almost everything that you can do with Alexa. So um, it It just has all the functionality. You can read books on the Alexa. You cannot, well, you can read books on Google Home, but it's a lot more roundabout. So if you want to read books, audio books, I mean, listen to audio books, that's the one thing you should buy an Alexa for. However, like I said, I think that the music on the Google system is better, and you can have it tell you jokes. You can ask it the weather, have you tell it the news, whatever you want, just like the bigger machines.
I gotcha. And we're watching the promo video. We're gonna move to it in just a moment. Definitely want to stick on the mini for a little bit, but I couldn't help but click on Google Home Max. You've made a lot of deal about how audio quality is a big deal, and the Google Home Max, like you mentioned, kind of the answer to Apple's device that's not even released yet, and the Home Max. I mean, this idea that it's a really good speaker, even at a much higher price. I think it's like 350 or something like that.
I think it's
Um,
399
it,
actually,
almost 400.
unless they change the price because it has not come out yet. And we should tell everybody who's not watching the video, this is a device that's so maybe 6 inches by 3.5 or 4 inches,
Right.
and it's like a major speaker. It's not small, but it's the sound quality they're saying is going to be fabulous. And Ben, I hope he's not listening, but I think that's probably what my husband's going to get for Christmas this year
well,
because
I,
he's a
well,
big audiophobe, okay? And you can actually plug a vinyl record player into this bigger Google Home.
yeah, I see that here. They actually advertise that auxiliary Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, so anything would kind of work with these. And more to your point earlier. And by the way, I definitely hope your husband. Hey, we like our listeners, but more more to your point about how Google just natively handles multiple multiple device audio streaming or being able to play sound out of more than one device. They have two different Google Home Maxes, so $800 for these two speakers. Jeez. But yeah, both of them hooked up to a record player. They kind of hope that they kind of hope that it's not just enough to have one smart speaker. They hope that you just treat these things like speakers that are also smart devices.
Right. And it'll be very interesting to see when Apple comes out with theirs. Because as you know, Apple is big into music, and they have connections with various music companies, etc. So their speakers should be phenomenal, and I think this Google Max should be phenomenal as well. We'll see which one is going to be better.
Which is so weird because now that I think about the Amazon selection, kind of the content that Amazon has versus the content versus Google versus the content of Apple, you'd think that something like I think it was like the Amazon. I actually have it here. Let's see. The Amazon Show, the idea that you could have this 9-inch screen essentially and be able to watch things, you'd think that would be right up Google's alley because obviously YouTube, and there's a lot of very compelling, short form video content that I feel like Google would want to make you know, uh, a lot of noise about, but they don't have an option like the Amazon Show where you can watch YouTube videos, in your kitchen or in your bedroom or what have you. They just simply
Right.
have these three, audio devices.
Well, here's the thing, Ben. They have these three audio devices, but you could take the Google Home Mini into a room. Say you have a small TV in the kitchen. I know a lot of people that have that
Hmm.
small TV in the kitchen. You take your Google Home in the kitchen and you put a Chromecast, a $35 Chromecast on your TV,
That's true.
and suddenly you just say, Google, let's watch some videos on how to make bananas Foster. And I
Right.
actually did this recently. And up pop the videos of bananas Foster, people making bananas Foster on your TV in your kitchen with no additional screens necessary. So that's what Google is relying on. And I actually really like it. I also have a Chromecast on my large TV, and which I watch more. And that one you can actually say, play The Crown from Netflix. It's what the larger Google Home can do.
Right.
So you can get it cheaper. As a matter of fact, um, Google has made a lot of connections
Hmm.
and it'll come up on your TV because it's hooked up through the Chromecast.
Hmm.
So it has a lot of advantages to it. And again, Walmart and buy a mini for $50, they will give you a $25 coupon for your first purchase that you make by voice with stores that they want to be able to sell things through their home devices, just like Amazon sells things through the Echo devices.
Uh,
So right now on the Mini,
Interesting. Yeah, and you actually just reminded me of another service that we reported on it like a week ago. It was new, and undoubtedly, it's going to become a major thing. And these devices, they are meant to keep you not only entertained, not only connected to your home, but they are meant to sell you products. That is a given.
right?
Now, Amazon did announce that Oprah, hey, or Popra, as more people know her, she recently came out with an Oprah magazine, essentially Alexa skill that let her or let Oprah come into your home, essentially, quote unquote. Not like she's gonna invade your space, but then she starts talking about I think it was like clothes or other things that kind of have her interested, and essentially it was.
She has a good voice, but it is a computer voice. So you're listening to a whole book without inflections and intonations. However, they say they're working on that now, so that'll be interesting. But you can do that, or you can go and buy a book from Audible and have it read by the author or by the narrator, whoever reads the books. And it's phenomenal because you can start reading in one room. Say I'm in the living room and I have Alexa reading a book to me, and then I get tired, so I'm going to go to bed. Just say, Alexa, pause, and go into the bedroom and say, Alexa, resume or read my book.
Mhm.
And she starts reading it right where you left off from the other room. So I just love Alexa for that, even though I like Google Home better for music. Um, the two do work together. So if anybody is saying, "Oh, I don't really want to buy two," no, you don't have to. But if you do want to get a Google Home and try it out, and get a Amazon Echo and try it out, you could actually buy both and see which one you like better,
There you go.
or have
And
them work together.
yeah, and for sure. So obviously, the Mini, like you said, it's a great entry point. The Home, obviously a better speaker just because the fact that it's larger and but does pretty much all the same things. And the price of that one, I'm pretty sure is something like 130. Like it's a bit cheaper than
That's right.
the Echo Plus. So again, it's really not gonna matter one way or the other because based on the ecosystem. By the way, we talked a lot about the fact that Amazon does have a lot of skills, not all of them great, but they are getting a better selection. How about Google? Are they strictly working with only companies and they're, only doing accredited essentially skills, or can
Well,
anyone kind of
you don't
develop on the
now.
platform?
You used to have to turn on these skills. Now you basically don't have to turn on the skills anymore. So um, y- you can just try things out on Google Home. For instance, I might want to watch a show from the Food Network.
Mm-hmm.
So I can say, Alexa, ask the Food Network what time this show is on. She'll tell me what time the show is on. Okay, what's going to be in the show? She'll tell me what's going to be in the show. And then she'll say, "Do you want me to send you the recipes?" Oh, yes. Okay. So if I like the sound of one of the recipes, she'll send me that recipe. So I went over to the Google Home because I thought, well, maybe they have that. And they do. So I asked the same question to Google Home, and she can answer me. The Google Assistant can answer me. So I guess what I'm saying is they both do have a lot of skills. It's not something that, for skills, it's not something that you just look through a thousand skills and decide which ones you want.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more like things that you try or friends try or you read about, and then you can try it on those devices.
Sounds like there should, but personally, I feel like there should be a way that you can flip through, a giant catalog or have a search bar and kind of see what these devices can do. But even if you could, they do change on a week to week basis.
Yeah, it's just like your apps on your phone. How many times have you gone to the Apple App Store and looked through all those? Well, you get really tired of doing it. You can, yes.
Right.
But finding one needs to probably be a little bit easier. So
Right. So yeah, and of course there you have it. Let's see. So and again, we're gonna just quickly touch back on Apple. I'm kind of looking for the release date of the HomePod. I'll probably find it a little bit later, but I mean, it's not too big. Again, it's like 6 inches, meant to be in the middle of your room, soft fabric, modern look. I mean, what does Apple have to, kind of show people that will get them on board? Because Amazon and Google, they have really great offerings, and and there's other companies that are doing exactly as good because they're using the same platform. What does Google just, or I'm sorry, does Apple just hide in with iTunes and call it a day? What does Apple have to do?
Apple will have a lot of Apple fanboys that will not mind paying $399 for a device that the others are selling for about $99. Um, they'll have a lot of people that are into iTunes that will want to use their devices. But I think it's going to be a hard sell for the rest of us that have already gotten our $50 devices to play all the music that we want. So I think they're going to have a hard time. Now, maybe Apple has something up their sleeve, which they have in the past, where it's going to be really fantastic, worth the extra money. So I'm anxious. I'm anxious to see what happens next. I'm anxious to see this Google Home Max and if that's worth $399.
Hmm.
Um, but the good thing is that they are still selling things for $50 that have a lot of functionality. So you can get into this home market without a huge outlay of money. And you can try it out for $50 or buy one with the Walmart gift certificate, which basically then only costs you $25, and try it and see if you like it. I think it's a fun thing to do. I have to say though, I know
Hmm.
we only have a minute left.
Right.
The one thing I didn't like about the Google Home Mini, my black Mini charcoal gray came with a white cable. Is that picky or what? But
It clashes. I understand you. That's not what you want to see. But everyone, she's right. We're just flat out of time. Sandy, I want to thank you so much. If people want to find out more, we've been saying CompuKiss. Anywhere
please
else?
visit me, COMPUKISS.com, and visit my blog where you can leave comments, and I'll be glad to hear from you.
All right, there you have it. And everyone, once again, thank you so much. And be sure to tune in tomorrow as we have on the show. Let me get this right. Tomorrow on the show, hybrid block. So join us then. And everyone, in the meantime, have a great day. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye-bye.